The judge looked at my parents' lawyer, asked one question, and my mother's face went white. Let me take you back to where this nightmare started. My name is Marcus Chen. I'm 34 years old, and up until 6 months ago, I thought I had the perfect family. My parents, Robert and Catherine, seemed like typical Seattle suburbanites. Dad worked in real estate, Mom was a paralegal. We had barbecues every Sunday. I called them every week, but here's what I didn't know. For the last 12 years, they'd been systematically setting up the perfect trap. And I was the prey. Stay with me because what they did is so calculated, so cold that when you hear it, you'll want to check your own family's paperwork. Let me paint the picture. 2013. I'm 22, fresh out of college with a business degree from University of Washington. I've got this idea, a digital marketing agency focused on helping small American businesses compete online. Nothing fancy. Just good, honest work. My parents were my biggest cheerleaders. Dad even gave me $15,000 to get started. He made me sign a promissory note, completely normal, right? Pay him back over 5 years at 3% interest. I thought it was him teaching me responsibility. I had no idea I was signing my own execution papers. But there was something in that document I didn't see. Something buried in paragraph 7, subsection C. Will come back to that. Fast forward 3 years, 2016. My agency, Chen Digital Solutions, is crushing it. We've got 23 employees. We're pulling in $2.3 million in annual revenue. I've worked 80-hour weeks, survived on Red Bull and determination. I paid my parents back every single penny by 2018, a full year early. Dad took me to dinner at our favorite steakhouse in Bellevue, Ray's Boathouse. He ordered the most expensive scotch on the menu, put his arm around me and said, "Son, I always knew you'd make it. I'm proud of you." I actually cried that night. 30 years old, and my dad's approval still meant everything. What I didn't know, while he was hugging me, he'd already filed the first legal document in what would become a 47-page lawsuit. 2019. I meet Sarah at a tech conference in Portland. She's brilliant, a software developer, Stanford grad, everything I could want. We fall hard and fast. Within 8 months, we're engaged. My parents were weird about it. Mom kept making comments. "Are you sure she's not just after your money? These California girls, Marcus, they're different. You haven't known her that long." I thought it was normal parent protectiveness. At our engagement party, and this is important, my dad pulled me aside, said he wanted to discuss the business. Said that since he'd helped me start it, he wanted to make sure it was protected if something happened to me. He wanted me to sign papers making him and Mom emergency business partners with rights to the company if I became incapacitated. I was drunk. I was happy. Sarah had just said yes. So I signed. That signature, that's when the trap snapped shut, but I wouldn't know for another 2 years. By 2021, I had everything. A thriving business. A fiancé I loved. And parents who were about to destroy it all. The first warning sign came on a Tuesday. March 2021, I get a certified letter. Law offices of Hutchinson and Gray, one of Seattle's most expensive litigation firms. I'm thinking it's a mistake, maybe a client dispute. I open it. Demand for full repayment of business loan and transfer of equity from my parents. The letter claims I never paid back the original $15,000. It says the promissory note had a clause, remember that paragraph 7, subsection C, that stated if I didn't pay back the full principal plus compounding interest calculated annually, they had the right to claim 51% ownership of my business. According to their lawyer, I owed them $67,000. I had bank statements, canceled checks, email confirmations of every single payment. For 3 years, I called my dad immediately. "Dad, what is this? I paid you back in 2018. You know what he said? "Son, business is business. You should have read the fine print." That phrase, "business is business," I would hear it 5 more times. Each time it would cut deeper. I hired a lawyer. Cost me $5,000 just for the consultation. She read the promissory note. Her face went pale. "Marcus, this is sophisticated. This wasn't written by your father." Turns out, my mom, the paralegal, had worked with a contract lawyer to create a predatory loan document that had impossible terms buried in legal jargon. The compounding interest clause meant that even though I'd paid back $15,000, they could claim I still owed exponentially more based on a technicality about payment timing. And that emergency business partner document I signed drunk at my engagement party. It gave them the legal right to force a business audit and freeze my assets during any dispute. My lawyer said, "Marcus, I've seen loan sharks write fairer contracts. This was premeditated." But why? Why would my own parents do this? The answer would come out in the courtroom, and it's worse than you think. Within 2 weeks, word got out. Small business community in Seattle. It's tight. Everyone knows everyone. My clients started getting nervous. "Hey, Marcus, we heard there's legal trouble." Is the company stable? 3 clients left. That's $40,000 in monthly revenue gone. Sarah started asking questions. Why didn't you tell me your parents were investors? What else haven't you been honest about? I wasn't sleeping. I'd lost 15 pounds. Every morning I'd wake up and think this has to be a nightmare, but it got worse. My parents filed a full lawsuit. They wanted 51% of my company, $200,000 in damages, a public acknowledgement that I'd defrauded them. They were trying to bankrupt me, publicly, completely. I know what you're thinking. Why would parents do this? Hold on, because when the trial started, the truth came out and it's darker than financial greed. October 2021, trial begins, King County Superior Court. My lawyer, Jennifer Ramirez, was incredible. She'd taken my case partially pro bono because she said, "This is the most morally bankrupt thing I've seen in 15 years of practice." During discovery, we found something. My parents had taken out a second mortgage on their house in 2019. They'd lost $300,000 in a bad real estate investment, some timeshare scam in Arizona. They were broke, and they blamed me. In an email between my mom and their lawyer, which we subpoenaed, she wrote, "Marcus has a $2 million company and drives a Tesla while we're struggling. We gave him life. We gave him his start. He owes us more than $15,000. He owes us everything." That email, that was the first crack, but it got so much worse. The courtroom was packed. Small business owners I knew, former clients. Even Sarah came, sitting in the back, her face unreadable. My parents sat with their lawyer, this smug guy named Gerald Hutchinson. Gray suit, expensive watch, the kind of lawyer who makes $800 an hour ruining lives. The judge was Honorable Patricia Yee, Asian-American woman, about 60, known for being no-nonsense. Hutchinson stood up and painted me as this ungrateful son who'd taken advantage of his elderly parents and refused to honor his debts. He showed the promissory note. He showed the emergency partner document. He made me look like a con artist. My own father testified against me, said I'd always been irresponsible with money, that I'd manipulated them, that they were just trying to protect their retirement. When it was my turn to testify, I brought bank statements, emails, recordings of phone calls where Dad said, "We're all paid up, son." But Hutchinson kept attacking. "Isn't it true you only paid the principal and ignored the interest terms?" I was losing. I could feel it. The judge's face was neutral, but the jury, if this had been a jury trial, would have hated me. Then on day 3, my lawyer found it. Jennifer was going through my parents' financial records, which we'd subpoenaed. She found a bank account. In it, deposits from my company, $3,000 a month, every month since 2016. I'd set up an automatic payment to my parents as a thank you, an extra gift beyond the loan repayment. $3,000 a month for 5 years. That's $180,000. They'd never mentioned it, not in the lawsuit, not in testimony. They'd hidden it. When Jennifer brought it up in court, my dad's face went red. Mom looked at the floor. Hutchinson scrambled. "Those were gifts, Your Honor, not loan payments." Jennifer shot back. "Then why aren't they reported as gifts on their tax returns?" "Because my client has the receipts showing these were labeled as loan repayment plus gratitude payments." The judge's eyebrow raised. That was the first time I saw doubt on her face about my parents' case. The courtroom was silent. You could hear people breathing, and then the judge asked the question that changed everything. Judge Yee leaned forward. She looked at Hutchinson, then at my parents, then at me. She said, "Mr. and Mrs. Chen, I have a simple question. In the 12 years since you gave your son the initial loan, have you ever, at any point, told him he still owed you money? A phone call? An email? A text message? Anything?" Silence. My dad's lawyer tried to object. "Your Honor, the contract speaks for itself." "I didn't ask you, Mr. Hutchinson. I asked them." My mom looked at my dad. My dad looked at his hands. Finally, my dad said, "No, Your Honor. No phone call. No email. No text message. No conversation at Thanksgiving dinner. No mention at Christmas. No, Your Honor." Judge Yee sat back. "So for 3 years after your son allegedly still owed you $67,000, you never once mentioned it? Not until you needed money yourselves. Is that correct?" That question broke them completely. My mom started crying, not sad crying, angry crying. She stood up, which you're not supposed to do, and shouted he was supposed to take care of us. We gave him everything, we sacrificed. And he just moved on with his life like we didn't matter. The courtroom went dead silent. The judge said calmly, "Mrs. Chen, please sit down." But my mom wasn't done. "He has money, he has a business, he's getting married, and what do we have? A mortgage we can't pay. We gave him his life." My dad tried to quiet her, but she kept going. "We wrote that contract to protect ourselves. He owes us more than money, he owes us his success." And there it was, the truth. This was never about $15,000 or $67,000 or contract law. This was about control. About jealousy. About parents who couldn't accept that their child had built something they couldn't take credit for. Jennifer asked if I wanted to make a statement. I stood up. My hands were shaking. I looked at my parents. Mom, Dad, I paid you back every penny. I gave you $3,000 a month for 5 years as a thank you, money you never asked for. I called you every week. I invited you to every milestone. I loved you. And you tried to destroy me because you lost money in a bad investment. You could have asked for help. I would have given it to you. Instead, you weaponized the law, hired an expensive lawyer, and tried to take everything I built. So here's my question. When did I stop being your son and become just an asset to liquidate? My dad wouldn't look at me. My mom was still crying, but quieter now. The judge said, I've heard enough. We'll recess until tomorrow for my ruling. That night, I didn't sleep. Sarah held me while I cried for the first time in years. The next morning, we returned to court for the verdict. Judge Yi walked in. Everyone stood. She sat down, looked at her notes, then looked at my parents. I'm going to be blunt. This court finds that the promissory note in question contains unconscionable terms designed to trap the borrower. The compounding interest clause is predatory and unenforceable. Furthermore, the evidence shows Mr. Marcus Chen not only repaid the original $15,000 loan in full, but voluntarily provided an additional $180,000 to his parents over 5 years. The claim that he defrauded his parents is not only baseless, it's defamatory. This lawsuit is dismissed with prejudice. Additionally, Mr. and Mrs. Chen are ordered to pay Mr. Marcus Chen's legal fees in full, $47,000. And one more thing. Mr. and Mrs. Chen, I've been a judge for 23 years. I've seen parents fight for their children's custody. I've seen parents sacrifice everything for their kids' future. What I've never seen until today is parents weaponize the legal system to punish their child for being successful. You should be ashamed. Court adjourned. My parents left immediately, didn't look at me, didn't say a word. Their lawyer looked furious, probably because he knew he'd never get paid. Sarah came up to me, hugged me, and whispered, I'm so sorry I doubted you. I walked out of that courthouse and broke down on the steps. Not because I won, but because I'd lost my parents. In the weeks after my business recovered, clients came back. Sarah and I got married 6 months later, small ceremony. My parents weren't invited. I heard through relatives that my parents had to sell their house. They moved to a smaller place in Tacoma. I've never spoken to them since that day in court. Last month I got a letter, my mom's handwriting. It said, we're sorry, we were desperate, we made a terrible mistake. I haven't opened it beyond that first line. I don't know if I ever will. Here's what I learned. Always read contracts, even from family, especially from family. Success can bring out the worst in people, even those who claim to love you. Sometimes the people who gave you life can't handle you building a better one. And that judge's question, did you ever tell him he owed you money? That wasn't just about the case. It was about integrity. If you're wronged, you speak up immediately. You don't wait until it's convenient. You don't weaponize the law out of greed. My parents could have called me, could have asked for help, could have been honest. Instead, they chose destruction. And that choice cost them their son. I'm telling you this story because someone out there is dealing with a toxic family situation right now. Someone is being manipulated, controlled, or destroyed by the people who are supposed to protect them. If that's you, document everything. Trust your gut. Get a good lawyer. And know that you're not alone. Drop a comment below if you've ever dealt with family betrayal. I read every single one. Thanks for watching. Stay strong out there.